Hey there guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another best class setup in Warzone video. Today we are taking a look at a new challenger in the race for one of the best SMGs in Warzone. We are of course talking about the Bullfrog SMG, which I'm definitely going to call the Bulldog SMG a couple of times in this video, so do forgive me for that. But this is one of those weapons that's sort of not really got the best damage. It has really decent damage range, it's very easy to control, and you have a lot of bullets to fire. And most of the time, as I said, you get away with it being very easy to use, and that's what makes it such a powerful weapon. For the most part with this particular class setup, if you are coming up against like a group of enemies or something like that, you can really just like run into a building and just hit fire them down, which is very satisfying and very effective. Just before we do get into it here, make sure you do hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on. I do very much appreciate it and does very much help me out. We are of course very close to 4,000 subscribers now, which is very exciting. So if we could get there very soon, it would mean an awful lot to me. So let's just jump straight into our best class setup here. So as usual with these videos, the timestamps will be on the video's loading bar and of course in the description. So if you are just looking for say the attachments for the Bullfrog, you can skip to that section. But we are going to start off with our secondary weapon here. Now, the secondary is always an interesting choice in Warzone, of course, and you can usually choose something like maybe a sniper or even an SMG in this category if you are running overkill, which in the perk 2 slot, you can always run overkill and then choose a sniper or something like that. The Bullfrog is a very effective option as a sniper support weapon, but for the time being, we're just going with something that makes us happy. We're not really going to use this too much again. I know this did get nerfed recently, but the Kimbo Diamati is still very powerful in this game. So these are the attachments that we're going with right now. They are the same as we have featured previously. Agency suppressor, the longer barrel, of course the 5mm laser, the dual wield, and of course the salvo 30 round fast mags. But as I said, for the most part, you can choose whatever you do like in the secondary slot. I would probably choose to go with a sniper or something like this, something like the Pellington or whatever to make this class complete. Because as I said, the Bullfrog is a very powerful secondary weapon for something like a sniper. In the perk slots, because this is an SMG we are going for in the perk 1 slot, we're going for double time to be able to sprint around the map a little bit more quickly, which is very nice here. But for the most part, you can still take EOD or you can still take cold-blooded, depending on what you do think you're going to come up against. In the perk 2 slot, we're still going with Ghost, but as I said, you can run overkill if you do want to run a sniper or a different weapon in the secondary slot. And you can also take restock if you are planning on sprinting around everywhere and just chuck stun grenades at people, which is also very strong. In the perk 3 slot, I do actually like to switch between my weapons when I do play this game, so amped is always a good option here. But you can pretty much take whatever you do prefer as well, with the battle hardened also being a good option. Shrapnel also doing a fairly good amount of work with a lethal. In the lethal slot, speaking of, we've got the Semtex, but as usual, this doesn't make too much difference what you choose here. You can pretty much choose any of these options and play however you want. And then in the tactical slot, of course, we can take that heartbeat sensor because having that extra piece of information is very strong. But you can also take something like a flash or a stun if you are being aggressive with this SMG class setup. These are very strong in this game. So as for what makes the Bullfrog such a good weapon in this game, is essentially it is a better version of the Bison. And that means we get a very large magazine ammo capacity, decent range, like really good range, pretty good damage per bullet, especially if you are landing headshots. And this weapon is really easy to use with the setup that we've got going on right now. As for our attachments here now, we are learning very quickly not to trust the exact statistics of what this does say here, so we are going to again refer to truegamedata.com, so we're going to take a look at the stats that these do present here. Now, for the muzzle slot, we do have the GRU suppressor, which does say here that we provide sound suppression, which is correct, can't go past that. We also get an increase to our damage range of about 10% according to this little chart here, of course on truegamedata.com. But it is a very interesting statistic here that we also get a 10% increase to our vertical recoil control, which isn't mentioned anywhere and is a very powerful tool in this game. Next, in the barrel slot, we have talked about this a bit recently, what the best barrels are for SMGs in Warzone, and my opinion has changed a bit somewhat. So in the barrel slot, we're going for that task force barrel. This does increase our damage, our effective damage range, and of course our bullet velocity. And the negatives for this are supposed to be less starting ammo, more vertical recoil control, and horizontal recoil control also reduced as well. But with this particular barrel, we get 50% increase to our damage range, which is of course very nice here. 80% increase to our bullet velocity and no change to our recoil control at all. The attachments are still broken. We're going to flash up a little bit of a recoil test on the screen right now. You can see these side by side here. So if we do a nice quick little recoil control test, this is what we get with the task force barrel attached here. You can see that the recoil is actually not too difficult to control. It's mostly just up and to the left here. And once we do switch over to our other class setup, we will compare that side by side. But as you can see there, not too difficult to control at all. Alrighty, so a similar spot here again. This is without the task force barrel. You can see here that the recoil control patterns are basically like exactly the same. Like there's really no difference here. Like you can see, they're very close together here. In the laser slot, we're going for something fairly interesting here. We want the GRU 5mW laser. This does give us a hip fire increase of about 35%, which is very, very nice here. It means we can run into a building, basically spray people down with a very accurate hip fire, as well as having loads of bullets to fire, which is super, super awesome here. In the underbarrel slot, of course, we do have that Spetsnaz grip. Now, what do we get here? We get that vertical recoil control, which is very, very nice here, and the horizontal recoil control minus shooting movement speed. But anyway, what we get with this particular grip here is, of course, 10% increase to our vertical recoil control and 10% increase to our horizontal recoil control, which is very, very nice here. And that's really one of the best options that you can go with. I mean, the bruiser grip also does decrease our recoil control by 13%, which is very, very nice here. But because we get vertical and horizontal recoil control with the Spetsnaz grip, this is what we're going with here today. And now, our last attachment is actually fairly interesting here. The iron sights in the Bullfrog are actually kind of bad. Like, they're not the worst iron sights that I've ever seen. They're just a little bit tricky to use. So you can take an optic in this particular slot if you do prefer. We like to run the Microflex LED. But if you think you are fine just running around with the iron sights on this thing, you can take like more ammo. For example, a 65 round speed mag, which is very, very nice here. It doesn't reduce your aim down sight speed by too much and gives you more bullets to fire, which does combine very, very nicely with our hip fire laser. But because I don't really like the iron sights on this bad boy, the Microflex LED is the option that we're going to go with here. So as we usually do, we're just going to jump into some gameplay, whether it's a bunch of clips or some plunder stuff. I haven't decided yet, but let's just jump into some gameplay here and have an excellent time with this fantastic weapon in this game. Alrighty, so we have got our loadout drop here. So our plan is to basically be a little bit aggressive. We just want to push people, because we have the power of an SMG up close and we can sprint around everywhere and we have a good time. But of course, we'll probably cut this until we actually get into some gunfights here. Oh boy. Here we go, here we go. Bit of action, bit of action. No, yeah, bro. Nah, rate that. No. No, I rate that, I rate that. Good man, good man. I don't what? What was that about? Nice. Oh, Jesus. Oh boy. Want that kill. Bit intense here, bit intense. Oof. Nah, I couldn't see the guy. Get up. No. Ah, bad luck, boys. We couldn't pull off the dub there. We couldn't pull off the dub. Tricky one. Always a tricky one. Ooh, okay. If you want action in a game of plunder, you only know where to drop. The only answer right now is, of course, Storage Town. Old Toilet Town. You come to Toilet Town and you just blast people away. Lots of combat all the time, boys. Just got to get in here and get stuck in. I mean, the last gameplay that we showed off didn't go amazingly well. We got a couple of kills and we did okay in the end, but we couldn't get the dub. But that's all right. That's all right. That is a-okay. Don't... Oi. Come here. Where'd you go? But essentially, it's not too big of a deal. Like, Plunder's still a fantastic game mode for showing off weapons in this game, mostly because you can just run in, spawn every time, and just go bleh. Ah, the Bullfrog, boys. That's the Bullfrog experience right there. If you take anything from this video, take that. If you land a headshot or two, you are chunking people. Like, you are absolutely shredding them. It does increase headshot damage, of course, which is not unusual for any guns in these games. So, of course, shoot people in the head, and you'll do better. It's as simple as that, really. Can we... Yeah, nah, don't. Go away. Ooh. No, shoot it. Yeah, there we go. Don't know what that did, but... Is anybody coming here? Is there anybody here? Is the rocket coming back down? No? Okay, maybe it got sniped or something? Oh, look at that, man. Look at that. I know in Plunder that you don't start off with the maximum HP, so it's a little inaccurate when you do compare it to, like... Hang on a minute. Dude, what are you doing? What did you think was going to happen? You come after me and I turn around and start shooting you and you're like, no, I don't want any of that smoke, bro. Oh. Plunder's cool because it's just big TDM. Oh, boys. The Bullfrog is... Oi. Settle down. The Bullfrog's lit, boys. Yo, watch this, boys. Watch this. Wait for him. No. Stop that. Shoot him. Look at that, boys. An absolute gunner. Oh. Oh, well. Alright, we'll have our final thoughts on this in just a second. And I know that Plunder isn't the exact representation that you get in Warzone, but it is still a fairly good idea to jump into Warzone and test out how the weapons in this game work. So as I said, I know Plunder isn't the ideal game mode to jump in and test out weapons, but it does let you fire weapons, it does let you practice their recoil control patterns. You do get a more fast-paced version of Warzone, which is still really, really cool to test out in. For the most part, what you are getting with the Bullfrog is a very, very accurate weapon that can deal decent damage at range, and it does have a very, very large magazine size, which is just such a super good option in this game. And as we mentioned at the start, it does pair very, very nicely with something like a sniper. If you want a sniper build and you want something to go with your sniper, this will definitely support you in those close range gunfights. If you do miss some shots, somebody gets too close, you pull out your SMG and blast people away. Anyway, guys, make sure you do hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on. I do very much appreciate it, and it does very much help me out. We are, of course, almost at 4,000 subscribers, which is very, very exciting, of course. So if we could get there very, very soon, that would be massive for me. Thank you very much for watching, as I said, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!